From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Hey, y'all are. Hey, Cajun Rob here with you. Mr. John's under the weather, so we got our good friend, Mr. Alvin, with us. How's it going, Alvin?
Hey, going great, man. Going great, John. Wish you get well soon. Oof.
Definitely.
I'm all confused.
You're good, man. You're good. Hey,
we're rare days off.
I understand. Hey, we all among friends here, man. It's all good. Alvin, why don't you tell folks about your network? Got a great network. We're actually streaming live on. So
yeah, let's see now. We should be live on the network right now.
Awesome.
There it is. Watch now. But yeah, we're at the American Angler Outdoors Network. In fact, there we are live on the network right now. If you got a cell phone, you can watch the show. But we have 5 channels. We have the hunting channel, our fishing channel, the live well, which this show will be on tomorrow. And we have Co-Angler's Corner with all of yours and John's podcast. Then we have Ted with Off the Hook Outdoors. All his shows are on there. 2 new channels getting ready to come out. Well, 3 actually. Wow. We'll announce those in the next few weeks. And we're available on Roku, iOS, Android, on our website. Got a lot going on. Looking for content creators, looking for advertisers. We have a good program, and I'm really excited about the future. And John and I have been talking a lot the last few days. So we got some good stuff coming on.
Well, absolutely. And I got it on Roku, and it really works well on Roku, man. You got it tuned in and tweaked, so it really works good on Roku. I can vouch for that.
Yeah, and we're looking into going back to Fire TV maybe. There's 2 other choices I'd rather hit that are more productive and offer more for our content creators, and it's not going to cost us as much to put it on there because we don't charge. I don't charge to download the app, watch the shows. It's all done through advertising. So we try to keep it so that everybody can enjoy it and not sit there and say, man, I paid $5 a month for this. Now they can just sit there and say, that's all right.
But you got a lot of good assortment, got a lot of quality content, man, for sure.
Oh yeah, well that's all because of guys like you.
Thanks.
And everybody else on the network. You guys give us some great content. And hopefully by the end of tonight, we're gonna have another great show to add to there tomorrow.
Oh,
Scott
absolutely.
and everybody. I'm looking forward to it. I'll admit, Scott, I'm the kind of guy that every time he throws a crankbait, it goes in the tree. Whether it's water or above the water, it winds up in a tree.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a good deal when they tell you they're like in the treetops, but not literally.
Yeah.
Like figuratively.
Yeah.
So, it's
hopefully I'll learn something tonight too.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'll just tell you what my experience is. And, it's what I've figured out over the years and what works for me. Now, that's not to say this is set in stone and, it's going to work for every single situation. And, I may say, hey, I'm throwing a crankbait in this situation. Somebody go, yeah, but I've tried it and it didn't work. I'm just telling you generally what I have found out over the years and what works for me. If next time you go out, you try it and it works. That's kind of the whole idea of these shows is this, to share information and share what you learned. And when you get up into our age group, whether you got a lot of experience or a lot of years, a lot of trial and error, and a lot of days out on the water that you really sacked them up, and other days you stunk it up, and you learn from those too.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes you learn more on the days you zeroed than you whack them. So I've had that.
Then I ought to be an expert.
Yeah, me too.
We all should.
Oh yeah. But Scott, why don't you just kind of quickly introduce yourself? Scott's a good friend. I've known you about 5 or 6 years, and man, he fishes Toyotas and a lot of events. So just kind of give yourself a quick introduction to the folks.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Scott Noel. I live in Ohio. Married, got 3 kids. I'm a first responder by, my day job. I'm getting ready to retire here in about 5 weeks. So that's exciting. But as far as my tournament background goes, I've been fishing tournaments. I started fishing them with my dad when I was 14 years old. The deal was he would take me out of school about 6 days a year, as long as I kept my grades up, and my mom didn't complain about it. So he kind of started that fire burning, and I'm 55 going on 56 now, and I'm telling you, I'm just as excited to get down to Kentucky Lake next week as I was when I was 30 years old. Like, I still got that fire going. I still think I can win one of these things, and hopefully I get back in the winner's circle. But yeah, I mean, I'm just a diehard tournament fisherman, just like everybody else, and try to win some money along the way.
Absolutely. You had the like me, you had the bug bite you, and it bit hard.
Yeah. I had this conversation with my one of my buddies the other day. I said, look, fishing's what I do. I don't hang out in the bars at night. I don't go to the casino. I'm not, going to the racetrack or anything like that. Like, I work, spend time with the family, and fish. So that's my vice, if you will. And that's how I spend my time.
There you go, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. That's great.
Right.
Yeah. But I got a quick comment. We'll bring on our good buddy Brock Crone. He's been on the show before. Says spill the beans. So he's got his notebook and a pencil ready.
Yeah, Brock's. How's that wing going, Brock? Brock had a little mishap in a tournament a couple weeks ago, so he's laid up a little bit. So hope he gets to feeling better soon, and we get back out on the water. If I don't catch fish when I fish with Brock, I feel like I've done an ab workout at the end of the day, because we've laughed so much and had such a good time.
Oh man, that makes for a great day, man. You can't beat that.
Yeah. So.
But how did you get started in crankbaits? Did your dad throw a lot of crankbaits, or you just kind of learned over the years?
Yeah, no. Early on, he was a crankbait guy. That's what his tackle box consisted of. So, when he had that box that was the don't touch that tackle box, I would always sneak in there and then he'd say, hey, have you seen that crawfish colored, crawdad colored shad wrap? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Knowing well, he knew that the only person that would have got the crankbait out was me, because my sister certainly wouldn't have done it. So yeah, it's something that I have a lot of confidence in. I've caught largemouth and smallmouth. Two of the best days I've ever had crankbait fishing was actually up on Lake Sinclair in the Detroit River. And I got up there on a Thursday night, and I got in the river and got on this like little pattern that I kind of had some intel on, and like for 45 straight minutes, I caught a smallmouth every cast.
Wow.
And I mean, when that happens, and I'm not talking just catching fish, these are 3.5 to 5 pound smallmouth eating a DT10 sideways, all 6 treble hooks. Like, you didn't have to worry about them jumping and getting off, because they weren't ever coming off. You could have pulled them all the way to the boat ramp and they weren't coming off. And I just know the effectiveness of it. I know it's kind of a lost art. That's not to say people don't fish it, but you don't hear a lot of guys say they're going out crankbait fishing. They may throw a crankbait during the day, but you can ask my buddy Daniel that I fish some tournaments with. Like, he's the jig guy. Like, he can cast better than me with a jig, and he can skip them. And I come mopping behind him with a crankbait, and it's just a 1-2 punch. And it's something I have confidence in. It's kind of like a Cinco to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Guys like, hey, if you had one bait in the world, what would you throw? I'd throw a 5-inch Cinco on a wacky rig. My deal is I'd pick up a crankbait, So it's just something I have confidence in. And I think a lot of times that confidence actually bleeds over into catching some fish, because you're tuned into it and you're anticipating that bite coming.
Oh yeah, you got a good feel. You know exactly what it feels like. You know when something's different. Hey, that's a fish or that's a leaf. Yeah, but you get tuned into it, and when you throw it so much, you get confidence. But
and I've got a couple baits, and I won't spill the beans 100% tonight because I got some tournaments coming up. But I will. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the exact baits I have the utmost confidence in, and when I have them. And I mean, I will promise you I'll share that much. I may not give you the exact color because I need it next week, but and that I can tell you that makes a difference a lot of times. Just a slight color change, and I've got a color that works on Kentucky Lake, so. Get with me after the Toyota, and I'll show you the color.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you one bit. But yeah, it's amazing with a little bit of tweak on the color. I like that old school, man. That's a jig and a crankbait, 1-2 punch, man. That's an old school set right there.
Yeah. I mean, people can talk all they want about forward-facing sonar. I'm telling you, you can compete on a jig and a crankbait in the tournament. You may not win them, but you'll compete.
Oh yeah, well it's like John Cox. You know, he don't have forward facing on his boat, and he cranked a lot, and he threw that little wacky rig, but he cranked a lot on the Classic, and he had a good top 10 finish. So that's proof in the pudding.
Yeah, a lot of times you're just doing something somebody's not. You know, everybody always talks about doing something just a little different than everybody else. Cranking would be that because it's just not something a lot of people. You know, I'm not saying they don't do it; they don't talk about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had one of my best days of crankbait last year. I got into kayaking, and there's a little lake, and I was throwing a little, you know, the big O, the little smaller big O, and it was green with the orange belly, you know, old school color. And I said, started raining. I say, I'm gonna do one more. There's a point with a tree leaning there. I said, I'm gonna do one more cast, and it just stopped. I'm like, somebody's home. 4.5, best fish I've ever caught in that lake. And it's funny because before then, I caught that lake has green perch like they do up in north. For some reason, this Lake Kentucky has that green perch with the orange yellow belly, and I think that fish was keyed into that color because I mean it choked it. It choked it.
You know, you can tell. You know, like say this crankbait. Like if you catch a largemouth and he's got one of these back hooks, or you know he hits it and doesn't really get it, you got something going on. Either you gotta change your retrieve, either faster or slower. You might want to hit it off some object. But a lot of times it's a little color change. And then the next thing you know, when you get the next bite, he's on the front hook and he's got this thing like this, and you can't see it, and you're getting a pair of pliers out. So the bite, and that's your first tidbit. The bite will tell you if you got the right bait or not. If he inhales it sideways, you got the right color, and you got the right reach, you know, the retrieve speed and all that jazz. But if you got barely on the back treble hook, you know, one treble hook in there, you might want to just try something just slightly different. Just keep tweaking it until they eat it. And once they eat it, you're off to the races.
Yeah, you get them kind of skin hooked, barely got them skin hooked on the lip, and you're like, and you're trying to get them in, and you're trying to get the net. But yeah, when they choke it, you net it, you can't even see the lure. You can't even see it.
Because you can duplicate that on the, you know, if you're for you, which one of my favorite places to throw them on a point. Like you can duplicate that probably every point on the lake.
Oh yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Rods.
Yep.
Rods.
Which rod?
So, which you talk about them striking that bait. Does a rod make the difference in
to me,
retrieving
it does. And here's what I will tell you is for me, I use a 7.4 Tatula Elite Daiwa, and it's a Brent Ayler edition rod. And to me, it's got the right combination of backbone if I catch a 5-pounder, that it's not bending my rod like an ugly stick, but it also has enough give to it that I'm not ripping, especially early on in the season, I'm not ripping that crankbait out of the fish's mouth, because a lot of times their mouths, you know, sometimes really when the water's cold, I'm talking in the 40s, those mouths will be like paper.
Oh yeah.
And you don't want to rip that crankbait out because you're liable to come back with either a lip or a couple scales. So you want that rod to kind of give it a second or two, and you don't necessarily have to reel down and set the hook like you're catfishing. Like that rod will just load up and just keep reeling it. If you and I'll give you your second. There are very few crankbait companies that I don't switch the hooks out, because there's only 2 companies that I trust that I can leave the stock hooks on. Everything else I switch out to Hayabusa treble hooks.
Yep.
Like and that's a guaranteed put more fish in the boat, because some of these crankbaits you paid $9, $10, $11, $12 for, the hooks aren't worth 15 cents. Like, they put the cheapest hooks they can put on. So in practice, I may leave the stock hooks on, because it's a little expensive to change hooks on 200 crankbaits in your boat. But come the night before the tournament, I will definitely switch out the stock hooks for Hayabusa treble hooks. That'll catch you more fish.
Well, absolutely. They're sticky. They're sticky.
Yeah, Al, to answer your question, in my opinion, the rod has a lot to do with it. If that rod will let that fish have a second or two before he knows he's hooked, that crankbait's going to be deeper in his mouth.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
That's what I was always. I've seen guys, man. 6'6", a 7'6", this, that, heavy, medium.
Yeah. No, I'm a medium heavy guy. Now, if you're a personal preference and you like those big broom handle heavies, then more power to you. The 6'6", and if I was creek fishing or wading, I might use a 6'6", because I don't want to hit the trees overhead, or if I need to get some side casting. But overall, out on Kentucky Lake, fishing the drops, or fishing the bars out on the main river, I'm gonna be throwing my 7.4, because paired with my Tatula Elite 6:3-to-1 gear ratio, like, I can throw that crankbait out of sight. Like, I can just throw it and I can't see it when it hits the water. I just feel it, like it stops feeding line out. And then, like, it's just the setup that I'm comfortable with. Now, I did talk to John earlier, and he asked me about the makeup of the rod. I think, again, I'm a graphite guy, Some guys like glass. I like glass, but I don't like them for crankbaits. I like glass for a chatterbait. But it's personal preference. I truly believe that aspect of it is Ford Chevy. If you like glass and you have confidence in glass, use glass. I personally don't think you need it, but that's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, everybody's different.
How about line?
What's that?
Yep.
Line.
Fishing line.
Line?
Yep. Fishing line. Yep.
Okay, so I will tell you 99% of the time I'm using P-Line Tactical. Now, here's what I will tell you. I have 6 crankbait rods tied up for next week on Kentucky Lake. 5 of them have 12-pound Tactical on it. That's my standard line. 12-pound, I throw it everywhere we go. 2 exceptions. Number 1, I may go down to 10-pound test if I'm up on St. Clair and it's really clear and the fish are pressured.
Yep.
I may go down a line size for 2 reasons. Number 1, I think the smaller diameter line, I think they see less, even though it's fluorocarbon, and it changes the depth in line. So if let's say I'm throwing a DT10, of course it's supposed to in its name, it says 10 feet. Let's say in 12-pound test line, I can throw that thing and it runs 10 feet. If I throw it on 8 or 10-pound test line, it'll run 12 feet deep. Now, conversely, if I have a bait that I really like and the fish are eating it, but conditions change to where I need that bait to run shallower, I'll throw it on 17-pound. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So the heavier line will keep that bait from diving as deep. So let's say I'm throwing a DT10, but I want it in 6 feet of water. I may go up to 15 or 17-pound P-line, and then it'll make that 10-foot bait dive 6 to 7 feet deep.
Absolutely.
So basically, you have that favorite bait by changing the weight.
Yes.
The line weight, you can change if it goes up or down.
Yeah, changing the line diameter, the pound test, if you will make that. If you go smaller, it will make that bait dive deeper, and if you go heavier, it'll keep it shallower. So there you go.
Absolutely.
A lot of guys are scared to run lighter weight. I can tell you, I've caught 5-pound smallmouth on 8-pound test line on a crankbait, and as long as you have your drag set and you don't try to horse them in the boat, that rod will tire the fish out. Your line, like I can tell you, I've been fishing P-line for almost 4 years, and I have never broke a fish off the fish doing it. Now I've caught it on a zebra mussel, and you can just feel it. It comes just like a razor blade. That's not P-line's fault. That's That's the zebra mussel. But as far as a fish, a 5-pound fish jumping out of the water and breaking me off, I have not broken a fish off in 4 years.
Nice.
So. All right.
But yeah, I've had that in Florida too, where I'll be cranking in the grass, like in January, the grass ain't all the way up to the top.
Right.
And I've used 17-pound. It just ticks the top of that grass, and man, it makes a huge difference.
And I think a lot of people miss that point. Like, you can do a lot to a single bait to make it run either higher or lower. Like you said, if you're fishing, let's say you're throwing a DT10 and it's 8 foot deep, and like you said, the grass is only a foot. You don't want that thing diving 11 or 12 feet. You want it diving 9 just to barely hit the top of that grass. And man, they just load up on it. Like, they don't hit it. They just load it. You're just reeling it, and doing your thing and stopping your cadence a little bit and maybe jerk your rod, and then all of a sudden it just loads up. So, you can do a lot of stuff with line diameter. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can remember back in the day, some of the top guys, would have like 8 or 10 rods out, and they'd have 8, 10, 12, and they would, like Fritz, I learned that from Fritz a long time ago.
King of crankbaits, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. He would have one bait with 5 different diameter lines on it, no doubt about it.
And he'd get keyed in that depth of that line. He'd get that keyed in and just hammer them.
Right. So I'll give you so we're springtime, right? Most places in the world, like the water temperature in Ohio right now is 44, 45, 46. Depending on if you get a real shallow lake, it could be 47 right now. It's not any warmer than that. So I'll tell you, the earliest water temperature that I throw crankbaits on is 37, 38 degrees. So 2 years ago, Brookville Lake here in Indiana, 34 degree air temperature, I believe, 39 degree water temperature. I had 15-pound limit, and every one of them came on a Fritz side 5. So this is my go-to bait in the springtime. Fritz side 5 or Fritz side 7, depending on how deep. But it's that real thin. I don't know if you can see it. Like, it's got a real thin body to it. And early on, generally, they don't want that really, that big, crazy. They just want a little subtle movement. And this Fritz side 5 is a killer. I believe one of the guys in the Classic was throwing a Fritz side 5. So, like, this bait is my number one confidence bait. Now, there are a couple different, models. You can throw a Little John, Spro Little John. This same kind of deal, it's a thin bait, same kind of idea. I think there's another one out there, the OG model. I think it's Hot Defoe's bait, but the general principle is they're flat-sided crankbaits instead of the big balsa that this big crazy movement. So flat-side crankbait. And the only other thing I'll say is, if you go out west, Brock's area, rock crawler.
Oh yeah,
like that's the bait. Like Midwest, I don't know how good a rock crawler is here because I typically don't throw it. I'll let you know next week. But rock crawler. So those are your 3. Those are your big 3 right now: is flat side, a wiggle work type bait, and a rock crawler. And generally, what I'm looking for at this time of year is rock.
Yep.
Like, they're on rock. Whether it's big boulders, whether it's transition areas from big boulders to, gravel, sand, or every once in a while you'll go from, boulders, and I'm talking, maybe the size of a basketball, and then you'll see a change on the bank to maybe baseball size boulder. I'm looking for any transition.
Yep.
And I'll fish 50 yards this side and 50 yards this side of the transition. Now, if you have a bank that's the same rock for 200 miles, I'm not fishing it. I'm going to look for the transition areas along the bank. So whether it's rock to dirt, rock to rock, some kind of change in a transition area is what I'm looking for about the next month.
Yeah. Sometimes here in Kentucky, if you find a rock seam, you got like I said, flat bank, and you got one rock seam, they're going to be on that rock seam.
Yeah, and it's like that's everywhere in the country. I mean, that rock right now is because it warms up. You got to understand, especially the darker rock. The water temperature's cold. These fish are like, their biological clocks are telling them that, hey, the spawn's coming. So they want to come shallow, but not to say they don't come shallow anyway. You can, and Eddie Carp will tell you, like, you can always catch fish shallow, even if there's ice.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm saying generally the majority of the fish are wanting to go shallow, and they're going to move towards that rock because it's warmer.
Yep.
It's warmer during the day. It soaks up that heat. And if it's a real sunny day, that water around that rock could warm up by 5 or 6 degrees.
Absolutely. Especially if it's dirty, kind of stained or dirty water. It's like it really warms up quick.
Yeah. So you take the springtime and then you start moving into that spawn, post spawn. Then I'm going to switch. I'll get off that flat side, that Fritz side 5, and then I'll go to DT4, DT6, DT10, different type wobble, little bigger bait, and I'll move from the rock. Not that I'll stop fishing the rock, but I'll move towards the wood and the grass.
Yep.
Because those fish are going to be moving. They're going to want to be, around the grass, around some piece of hard structure, a stump, a tree, a lay down, so they can do their ritual, right? So
Yep.
I'll still hit the rock, but I'm going to be really keen on the wood around the spawn right after the post spawn. So bait changes a little, get a little deeper in the dive, and a DT. I don't care what it is. You can do a DT 4, 6, 8, 10. That whole model of baits are, they make so many different colors and, 2-foot increments. They're just, it's an easy bait to fish because you can have them in all different, depth runners. So, and I throw them all the way up to, the 16,
yeah.
Especially Kentucky Lake. There was, if you remember years ago, back when the FLW was FLW, like they used to catch 30-pound limits down around Paris, fishing the drops. Like they're fishing out on the main river on the big drops, not the sandbars, the drops that drop into 20 or 30 feet. So that's when those big, 10XD, 8XDs come in where, you're throwing a crankbait that's that big and catching 3-pounders, or you're catching a 7-pounder. But generally, pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn, I'm going to that DT. And then summertime, DT10, 5XD. If you got deep enough water, 10XD. If you got big fish around, and kind of transitioning away from the wood and grass, more to the drops, the ledges, something with current around it, because they're going to want to go out there and recoup from the spawn.
Yep.
And then they start feeding on the shad and getting fat again for summertime, and kind of moving out to the deeper water. Not to say you can't catch a few still shallow, but generally that month after the spawn, they're tired. So that first week or two after the spawn is brutal fishing anyway, because they just don't want to bite because they're so tired. So, the first thing they'll bite after they start putting some weight back on is, a big crankbait out in some current and a little deeper water.
Yeah, that's where you catch a fish that like it has a head of a 6-pounder and a body of a 3-pounder.
I caught one at Seminole. I don't know. It's probably been 7 or 8 years ago. I'm telling you, a fish would have been 11 pounds pre-spawn, and it weighed barely 7. Like you could almost read the newspaper through it, but the thing was that big. Like it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Just so spawned out, it was nuts.
Oh yeah, they'll do that. They'll do it. And we're got a few comments here. I'm gonna run through real quick. Got some buddies here tuning in. Brock says he's right. 60% land rate goes up to 85 when you change out the hooks. What you saying? And then our old buddy Ricky Hurd. Hey Ricky says,
Ricky,
what's up?
Texas Ricky, right?
Yeah. Oh, Hammer Ricky says, what's up, Mr. Scott the Hammer? Hey, good to hear from you, Ricky. Hope you're doing well down there. And Brock says he's right. Sometimes you always lose fish cranking. However, new line plus new hooks with the right rod, you'll go from 60% to land rate of 85 plus.
See, we should have had Brock on here doing this one because he gets it, man. He knows exactly. We've had these conversations in the boat a lot of times, man. It's just,
I heard that.
Like, I think a lot of people just won't take the time, or, they want to say, hey, oh, man, it costs, $10 to restring this rod. But, I mean, if you're fishing for a Toyota or, a Bass Pro Tour, man, that 5-pounder could be the difference between a $10,000 check and a no check. So, I change the line every night pre-fishing, but I'm changing it for a tournament.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame you because you said mussels and you got all that. You don't know what you're running into down here.
Right.
And Max813 says, good evening, gents. Love me some cranking. Hey, Max. Appreciate it. And then Ricky says they got a good tight wobble to them crankbaits. Absolutely, man. That's what you want this time of year. And then Max813 says, have you ever dabbled in Magnum square bills? Big ones like 3/4 to 1.5 ounce size.
Yeah, Max, don't hesitate to throw them really shallow this time of year. That's what I'll tell you. Don't hesitate to throw that thing up in the mud.
Yep. They will be, especially dirty water.
You're probably not going to catch a bunch of them, but if you catch one, you're not going to have to put it on the board to see how long it is.
Yep. Yeah, that dirty water and Magnum crankbait, spot on.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then we got our buddy legend himself, Ed Cowan, saying late getting on. Hey, good to see you, Ed. I hope you're doing well, buddy. And then last one here, Brock says, also, sadly, if you are fun fishing, this also applies if you want to land them.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Been there, done that. And then Max813 says, I'm in Florida. That KVD 4.0 be calling me. Absolutely. Spot on.
I wish I was in Florida right now, man.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm jealous. Oh, man. But I know you was talking about your most successful day. What's one day like you got late in the tournament? Kind of. I know I've had this happen a long time. You get it figured out like the last hour, and they just start killing it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, typically that everybody thinks that morning bite, that first half hour, but you sleep on that 1 to 3 o'clock. I don't care what time of year it is, man. I've caught some of my biggest fish 1 to 3. And I mean, I fall victim to it just like everybody else. You go into a tournament thinking you've already figured it out, right?
Yep.
So you got your jig tied on, you got your wacky rig tied on, whatever, and you're almost in your mind, you're trying to make these fish bite something that they may not want.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just gotta let the fish, it may take you it may take you change it from some kind of topwater in the morning to a chatterbait to, throwing a jig around. And then, at 10 o'clock, you don't have something. I mean, most of the time, the fish are trying to tell you something. You can't force them to eat something most of the time that they don't want to eat. So keep changing. And, I mean, that crankbait, you'll be able to figure it out one way or the other, whether it's even if it's a highly pressured. So I'm unfortunately, I live in Ohio and I choose to, and I have this conversation with my wife constantly. Like, we choose to live here, so we can't complain a whole lot about it. But these fish are pressured to death. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm fishing Rocky Fork Lake, which is, it's follow the leader around the lake, a 110 boat tournament. And you can't fish anywhere in the lake that you can't almost talk to another boater because you're just packed in like sardines. So don't hesitate to throw a little micro crankbait.
Yep.
It's no different than throwing a shaky head worm or a Ned rig or something like that. Like if they've seen DT10s or DT6s for the last week, like, I don't know, maybe they'll bite one, maybe they won't. But if they've been on a crankbait bite for 3 days, and then all of a sudden this crankbait bite shut off, unless you had a barometer change, a major weather, a cold front, a warm front, something like that made it clean, try finesse cranking them. Like, I got a buddy that throws the small, you almost can't throw it on a crankbait rod. Like, it's a little bitty thing. But then he catches them all the time on it. So,
yep.
There is such a thing called finesse cranking. So
I throw them wee baits, and man, I got a wee bait that smallmouth chew. I mean, if I got to have a bite and have a fish it's late in the day, I'm throwing that wee bait, getting bit.
I mean, that wee bait came about because of the Ohio River. Anybody who knows anything about the Ohio River knows that fishing sucks most of the time. So you're scrounging. Like, if you go in a BFL and you got 3 fish, you're getting paid, right?
Oh, yeah.
Guys throw little baits to try to get those 14-inch fish, and that wee bait, the little micro, like little 1-footers, they almost look like a crappie crankbait, if you know what I'm talking about. Man, they catch them. They'll catch big fish too.
Oh yeah, they throw like a tater chip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talking about BFLs. I was at Tanner's Creek and I caught one nice keeper on a buzzbait and almost cashed a check on one fish.
Well, I will tell you, I won my BFL on Tanner's Creek, but I won it throwing a jig.
Yep.
But I also, the next tournament 3 weeks later in West Virginia on the Ohio River, I caught one smallmouth that weighed 3.2, finished ninth, and got big fish for the tournament. Like, that's how fishing is down there. Like, if you catch 10 pounds, you're probably going to win. Like, that's just how it is. And I catch 10 pounds on Kentucky Lake, I'm going to finish 170. Like,
yep, if you're lucky.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with St. Clair. Like 10 pounds, you might as well dump them back in the lake and put your boat on the trailer.
Absolutely.
I think I caught 20 pounds, 3 ounces, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and finished like 23rd. Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
Heard that. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, it would behoove you to throw that crankbait a little more and just kind of work it around different areas and different different structure, but you always want it hitting off something. Whether you're fishing rocks right now, like, you don't want to just throw it out there and retrieve it on a regular flat retrieve and just, sure, you can catch a fish every now and then doing that, but the majority of your fish are going to come when that bait does something different. It deflects off of a rock, it hits off of the stump, and or how many times have you been throwing a crankbait and they hit them on the way up as you're retrieving that last 10 feet of line? They short stroke you at the boat because that bait, has been coming through the water. Now all of a sudden it comes up and they're coming up after it. So you want that bait doing something different, whether you're changing the cadence of your, stop and go retrieve, or you're kind of going along and then you speed it up for a second or slow it down for a second, or you can even pop your rod a little bit, but you want it doing something different for where if that fish is following that bait, that fish does something, or that bait does something erratic to make that fish predatory. He wants to eat it. But if it's just going along doing the same thing, he's been swimming behind it for 30 feet. Why does he care if it does it another 10 feet? But when that bait goes, and then he's oh no, it's getting away. Now I'm going to eat it, or it's coming up, or something like that. But you want that bait doing something, hitting off of something,
or even like pausing it. Even throw a pause in there.
Right?
I mean, that makes a difference sometimes.
Right? Yeah, and sometimes it's smallmouth will just crush it on the stop.
Oh yeah, because they like overrun it. They overrun it.
That thing will either sit there or if it'll even back up a little. The back up, if you can get a bait to back up 6 inches, those fish go bananas on it.
Absolutely. What you got for him, Al? You got anything else for him?
Yeah, I was going to ask. All right, we talked about the rod and the line. Now, I've seen guys. They like the oval split rings. Some guys like round split rings. Some guys don't like split rings at all. Go right to the hook itself, right to the crankbait's eye.
Right.
What do you see in those? What's the difference?
I mean, yeah. So this Little John has kind of like an oval. It almost looks like a oval, like NASCAR track. Like the Fritz Side 5's got a circle on it.
Yep.
The Rock Crawler has a circle also. I think it does affect the movement sometimes. But to me, the O-ring is about the same as a hook. Like, I don't necessarily trust every O-ring either. So I'll switch those out. For me, generally, without getting too deep in the weeds, I'm a round O-ring kind of guy. Just easier. It makes, sometimes when you get the odd shaped ones, whether it's the long oval ones or whatever, sometimes they hang up. And then you spend more time trying to get that thing to hang right than you do actually fishing. For me, that round one, you can always just shake it a little bit or smack it on the water and it ends up going back the way it's supposed to before. But sometimes those oblong ones, I don't know what you would call it. It's not a rectangle, but it's kind of like a long oval. They hang up to me. So again, I'm sure there's some guys that probably swear by a different size or a different shape than than the regular O-ring, but I'll switch out my O-rings too. I order those from P-Line also. So, I mean, they ship them to, I think they got 100 pack or something like that. So it takes 10 seconds with a good split ring tool to just move it out. And the worst thing is to have one straighten out on you. And I've had that happen before. So, I get it. I mean, these bait makers are trying to get a bait out, but they don't want to spend an extra $1.50 in components, right? Because it cuts into their profit margin. So they don't care if they put junk hooks and junk O-rings on them, right? But I can tell you most of the guys, especially the high level guys, are changing their stuff out too. Whether it's Gamakatsu or Owner, like, Berkeley Fusion makes a decent hook. I like Hayabusa hooks because my experience has been those fish don't come off. Like sometimes they don't come off even when you want them to come off. Because I've spent, 3 or 4 minutes trying to dig I don't even know how this thing's going to come off. You almost have to hurt the fish to get it, a good crankbait out of the, that big, that bony gristly in the corner of the mouth. So, my experience has been that that's a good hook. So I have confidence in it, and that's what I go to. But yeah, I mean, guys, like back to your original question, I think guys may have a preference. Mine's just the standard, just O-ring.
Yep. Now, when you tie onto that round O-ring, I know some guys like to tie it where the two, come together. They like to tie there. Sometimes they put that on the backside. What's your preference on that?
I get it to hang straight. That's what I do. I mean, some guys will tell you, to put it in the fat part of it, because you do have a little indentation. Yep. I haven't seen a lot of difference on that. I'll tell you, most of the time I tie a Palomar knot.
Yep.
That's just the easy, quick knot that I've had a lot of confidence in. Like I said, I don't break them off. So maybe if I broke off fish, I would change a knot, because I've seen guys spin them, do their deal. Yeah. But a Palomar knot 99% of the time, that's when I'm fishing on everything. So I just get it on there. I make sure I wet it, make sure I got a good tug on it. And if it's in that little indentation part that's only the one part of the wire or something, I haven't, especially when you're changing out O-rings to where you got a really good O-ring. Now, if you got a cheap O-ring, I think you might run into some issues where you straighten them out, or they have some issues. But overall, just a Palomar knot, and just make sure that it's a good. So I don't spend a whole lot of time on that.
Yeah, just concentrate on your knot. Make sure all the loops are there, everything's straight, and you look at it and tell everything is matched up.
Yeah, and I mean, if you toss it out a little short line and it comes in all crooked, then you got something. And then I don't hesitate. I don't sit there and try to bend eyes and try to get them to, like, I'll cut it off and I'll start over again. Something I did is messed up. Doesn't happen very often as far as getting them to run straight. But if you get one that's coming up on top of the water like he's surfing, like, obviously it's either the knot, the O-ring or something. So I'll just snip it off. And if I'm in a tournament, I'll probably just throw it in the bottom of the boat and put a new one on, and I won't mess with it till afterwards. And then I'll try to get it to where I can put it back in the box, or I may just throw it in. I keep kind of a cardboard box in my center, and I just throw a bunch of stuff that I either cut off or stuff that doesn't run right then I throw it in a box here in the garage, and it stays here for 20 years, and I never dig out of it, But
hey, time's money.
So I just have one of them. I'll have 15 Fritz. I got a whole box of Fritz Tide 5s, an entire box full of them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're going to run through, got a few more comments here. Ricky Hurd says, doing good, guys, just waiting on this rainstorm to come in. I got it for the weekend, Ricky, so you get it, then I'm getting it. And then legend Mr. Ed Cowan says, love the baby in. Built a light action glass crankbait rod just for this bait. That's a classic, man.
There you go. That is a classic. That's a staple. That bait has been around for probably since I was a teenager. I don't know how many fish I've caught on a baby N. I will rightfully admit I don't throw it a whole lot anymore, but it's probably because I just don't have very many of them left. But that's a hell of a crankbait.
Yeah, and the old ones are gold. If you can get some old ones still in the box, that's gold.
There's a lot of those old crankbaits, they're kind of like, the old pop bars and stuff like that. Like I used to catch a lot of fish on, it was called a Rebel humpback. If you remember that bait.
Yeah, I got some.
It was about 1.5 inches long, and I used to creek fish with my buddies, and I used to catch hundreds of fish on those baits, but I can't find them anymore.
eBay. Only place I see them is eBay.
Yeah. And you're probably going to pay more than $5.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, you will. You will. All right, I got a question. Says Brock says, Rob, what is Pittman Creek's top 5 cranks? Best guess for March, April. Man, that's easy. DT6 and Demon. Like Scott says, the I lost my train of thought. Fritz size 5 in like the was it Candy Crawl or Crawl colors. And then, like I said, the some of the Spro mini baits. So, but the little BFS baits has been doing pretty hot too.
Yeah.
So, the little mini crankbaits like you was talking about. But yeah, definitely any Rapala DT6, DT8, DT4, and Demon, got to throw it, man.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you'll get a guy that still swears by the Shad Rap.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
7. I've kind of got away with that, or away from that bait over the years. I still have some. I tried to throw them in Lake of the Ozarks, but I got a lot more confidence in that bait right there.
Oh yeah, I still got my old Finland Rapala Shad Rap 5, so I still got some.
Right.
And then Eddie Carper, there's your buddy Eddie Carper saying, "Hey guys."
There's
the
man.
Eddie. There he is. There he is. Good to see you, Eddie. And then Max813 says you can get nickel-plated split rings from Barlow's made of spring steel, same as the owner hyper wires, but way cheaper. Good tip, man. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And then Eddie Carper says he likes the Rapala knot. Yep,
yeah,
that's a good one.
Everybody's kind of got their own, and if the knot works for you, I say don't change. I've got confidence in the Palomar. I've never had a problem with it. I've never lost a fish because of my knot. So, I can tell you my goal in retirement, I actually looked it up last night while I was watching the hockey game and having an adult beverage. I'm going to learn to tie the FG knot this year if it kills me.
Me too.
I've tried it. I don't know what it is. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I don't feel like I'm the dumbest, but I just cannot figure out the ending of it. I end up messing it up and just cutting it and starting over. So that's my goal in retirement is learn the FG knot.
That's a good goal, man. It can't go wrong there. And then Eddie says they still make the Rebel humpback.
Really? I haven't seen it, but hey, Eddie, do not put it in the comments. Text me where I can get them.
Oh man. And then Eddie says Shad Rep is east. I think he means best. Yeah, Shad Rep is pretty good, man. I throw that shad color, that old crawdad color. That's the only two I throw.
I mean, like I said, I had one tied on at Lake of the Ozarks, and of course that was just tough conditions. I mean, half the lake was ice when we got there. You couldn't fish back past the secondary ports in any creek because they still had ice cover. And I don't think you could have thrown a chartreuse hand grenade and caught fish. But I did have the Shad Rep on. I just didn't get bit. So
yeah, that's fish catching machine, man. And then he agrees with you. He says FG is not a waste of time, so he must have that down.
Hey, next month, Eddie and I are fishing a tournament on the Ohio River together. So maybe after we get done fishing, you can give me a lesson on the FG knot.
Hey, there you go, man. There you go. Sound like a winner. What else you got, Alvin? You got anything else?
No, like I said, crankbaits. My best time with a crankbait, I actually kept it through the day.
Yep.
I had it when I left.
Right. Yeah.
You know what's behind me. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would just say for crankbait, especially, and I don't take it this right. I'm not saying anybody's a beginner, but if you're just getting into crankbait fishing, don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate. There are so many crankbaits out there. Rob said, there are some tried and true crankbaits that have caught fish for years.
Yep.
The Fritz Side 5, the rock crawler, the wigglewort, the shad rat. Just pick one of the popular ones and throw it all day long. If you have a day, you can just go fishing. You're not fishing, tournament, and you're not you're just going to fish. Pick it up and don't pick anything else up the rest of the day. And I promise you, by the end of the day, you'll be a lot more confident in it. And my guess is you're going to have caught a couple fish.
Oh yeah, and it's a perfect practice bait because you cover so much water with it.
Right.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem when I've thrown it, it's always been out here on the Potomac River, and you just throw it, reel,
Right.
reel.
Well, I'm not saying you can't catch a fish in the Potomac on a crankbait, but you're probably flipping anyway, right?
Yeah, that or.
I mean, not to say you can't catch them on a crankbait on the Potomac, but that's not the tournament winning bait 99% of the time.
True that.
Top water.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
but
I've enjoyed it, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'll extend the invitation as I have the last couple times I've been on. If anybody has any questions, didn't get a chance to be on the live, and you watch the show and you got a specific question, feel free to send me a messenger message. I promise you I'll get back. Other than the color that I'll be throwing next week, I don't have a whole lot of secrets. I'll tell you what I know. I'm not going to tell you what color I'm throwing next week.
I heard that. We got a couple more comments I'm going to knock out real quick.
Yeah,
Brock
I
says,
agree with Eddie.
Yeah. Brock says, does anyone have chance to get rid of gremlins? Bah ha ha. Yeah. Do a break dance, Mike Akinelli break dance, man. That's the only thing I know.
Yeah, Brock's talking about Lake of the Ozarks. We teased it. I had gremlins in the boat.
It happens. Happens the best of them, man. It happens. Got all the bad luck out of the way now, so you good. Then Eddie says best east. I think means best of Mississippi, mainly Hartwell, East Coast. Yeah, talking about the shad rap.
Absolutely.
And he says Potomac, totally different. Yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah.
Oh, now here's some juice for you from the legend. Ed Cowan says Potomac, you need a man's 1-. Ooh, that's old school.
Oh,
that's
man.
old.
Hey,
old
you know
school.
what? I was just looking through my box. Eddie and I are actually fishing the Toyota on the Potomac. Ironically enough, and I think this is going to be really cool, is the Toyota Series on the Potomac is on 9/11. So I think there's just going to be something cool about fishing the Potomac, having Washington, having that kind of background, maybe some monuments or something. I just think there's going to be some magic in that tournament. Hopefully it's Eddie or I, but maybe I'll throw a man's -1 around a little bit and see what happens.
There you go. Hey, if it comes from Ed, I'll put money on it.
Yeah. No, I believe it. I used to throw that a lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the only reason I say the Potomac is because physically the Potomac is a half mile behind me.
Right.
Yep.
I physically live on the Potomac River, so it's a great body of water, but it does change. I mean, what you throw today might not work for weeks.
Right. Yeah. And it's tidal, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's a whole nother ball game if you're not used to that.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
Throw a little monkey wrench.
River, same deal, man. The James River, I fished an open there a couple years ago, and I should have been in the top 5 first day. I dropped a 5 off the side of the boat. I still had 17 and some change, I believe, but I should have been top 5. And then the next day, I mistimed the tide, and when I got to my spot, it wasn't the water was shut. There was no water. So I mistimed it. So it happens. I mean, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, you learn, right? You learn all your mistakes, and you learn days that you didn't catch them. And I think I weighed in 3 fish and dropped the middle of the pack. But those tidal fishes can be tough, but they can also be dynamite, especially on the low tide.
Oh, yeah, it's all about that timing, man. All about that timing.
Right.
And I'm right here on 3. The Potomac, the Rappahannock, and the James.
Oh, well, you're spoiled.
I got the Potomac's on one side of me. The Rappahannock's just about 11 miles on the other side of me.
Yeah.
Wow.
There are worse places in the world to live. That's for sure.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That's right. And Eddie says all about grass and logs on Potomac.
Yeah,
And
Potomac, no doubt about it.
yep. And
Yeah.
he did say I will throw a man's -1. Good
Yeah.
plan, Eddie. Good
Yeah.
plan.
Absolutely.
I have one. That's one of the ones I do know I have. That, and I like it.
That's
Yep.
a good bait.
It's classic.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah, that's one that's stood the test of time, right? Tom
Yep.
Mann. I mean,
Yeah.
that came out of Eufaula years and years and years ago. So that's one that everybody should have in their tackle box.
Back when we was in high school in the 80s.
Right.
It's
Couple
got
years
Man's
ago.
on it. Anything that comes from that person is going to be great.
You got it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Eddie says I need an address. So I
Right,
think
right. And GPS coordinates.
there you go. Yep. Yeah, Max is right. Max 813 says -1s are now discontinued. Yeah, Man's finally shut their doors for good last year. I know we got a notification. We was carrying, but they almost had nothing last year. So it's kind of, I was hoping somebody's going to buy the name and buy the
Right,
molds, but I haven't heard anything. So
Yeah,
kind of
that's a
sad.
shame.
Yep. And then
I think, like Scott said at the top of the show, forward-facing sonar it's putting a little hurt on that industry.
what else?
It's not there. People are just they're so tuned into that screen. They don't want to do that. They just want to cast, put it in front of their face, and fish.
Yep. It is, but there's still some diehards out there that said Texas is still buying crankbaits.
Yeah, all you got to do is look at all the comments on Easton's win of the Classic and how many people don't respect the win and everything else, even though this kid has won 2 opens and a Classic in the last 12 months, and they still won't give him respect. Like, it boggles my mind. And I did see a post earlier today is some guy was in an airport, and I guess he took the time to click on the profiles of 12 people that were like the naysayers and saying that he didn't earn it and he won it with a cheater box, and they're all like in their 40s and 50s. So the demographics of the guys that don't like forward-facing sonar are guys my age and Eddie's age. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
People understand it. This kid is literally beat the best in the world 3 times in less than 12 months, and they still won't give the kid his due. Like, he's
He is
an absolute hammer.
And he had brain surgery or something like last year. I mean, that's incredible. That's an incredible story.
Yeah, it just goes to show you get behind a keyboard and people are just jackasses. Like, I don't know how else to put it. They say mean stuff to everybody. They can't give anybody any accolades. It's just negative. Instead of just saying, Easton, you just won the Bassmaster Classic. You'll be a Bassmaster Classic champion forever. You got $300,000. It's your 3rd win in 12 months. They got to bash the kid. I just don't understand it.
I don't either. Hats off to him.
It's a shame.
Yeah, and he's a machine. I'm telling you, everybody that I've talked to, look at Rick Clunn's comment. Rick Clunn is nothing but, like, this guy is the real deal, and people still won't get, like, I'll be honest with you. I hope the next Elite, I hope he wins that one too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I do. Like, he's him and Logan Parks are my 2 young guys, and I like Trey. I think Trey's got a bad rap.
Oh yeah.
He's a hell of a fisherman too. He damn near won the thing.
He did. He gave it a run.
They're just, like, they're personable. They're, some people may call them cocky. The guys they're confident in their abilities. They're good. They catch fish everywhere they go. They catch big fish. So I might be one of the OGs, but I'm pulling for those guys. I just am.
Absolutely.
I like to see people catch fish. I don't care if they catch it on forward-facing sonar or if they catch it on a bobber. Like, I want to see people catch fish.
Yeah, and them kids are putting the work in. Hats off to them. They putting the work in.
Daylight to dark.
And he wasn't the only one out there with it.
Right.
No.
And that's my point. Like, everybody except for John Cox had it. So what is it? Is it the forward-facing sonar that everybody has the same stuff? And I would argue that some guys probably have more or better units than he does. Some of the Japanese guys have, like, saltwater transducers and stuff that look out 300 feet and all this stuff. Or is it his skill at using his forward-facing sonar that's better? I would submit after your 3rd win in 12 months on the arguably one of the biggest two stages in the world. It's either the elites or the Bass Pro Tour. It's the only two big ones. NPFL, I hope they succeed, but they're not up with those two yet.
No.
When you've won 3 national tournaments in 12 months, you can't do anything but tip your hat to the kid.
Oh, absolutely. It gets hammers. I mean, it gets absolute hammers. Hats off to him.
So,
but that's just it. And it's not like football or basketball or baseball where it's the person. It's your athletics.
right.
This is with or without the forward-facing sonar. He has to know what to throw.
Yeah, and where they're at.
Like you were saying earlier, am I going to go 10 feet, 12 feet, 6 feet? And he took the time and the patience to figure that out. Basically, he did his homework.
Yeah. And he struggled that final day.
Yeah.
He wasn't crushing it. Like, he was down at one point. Now, he doesn't have the benefit like the Bass Pro Tour where somebody's giving him the updates like, hey, Easton, you're down right now. Trey's leading this tournament. So he stuck with what he believed was going to ultimately pay off. And at the end, he caught an 8-pounder and won the thing. Like,
yeah, that was
amazing.
He's
got guts, and he's got guts more than a 22-year-old had. Like, I wish I had half his talent. Is what I would.
And nerves of steel. He had to have nerves of steel that last day. Yeah, I'd have been.
You're technically on the biggest stage in this sport.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the last play of the Super Bowl and you're down 6 points.
Yeah, and you go a touchdown.
Yep.
And this isn't just for those few seconds. This is for 3 days. Like that. It's the last play of the game for 3 days straight.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with some people. Yeah, it's expensive. So for some of us, we may never have it. But when you get to that level, even in the Opens and the Toyota Series, it's a little bit, it's a little higher. So you're going to have a lot of people with it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I said hats off to them guys, man.
Yeah.
And in less than 3 or 4 years, they're going to come standard equipment on all bass boats.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's
and we'll have something else to argue about.
That's
something else.
Yeah, it will. It'll be.
I hope the dilemma's over. I just hope they, and it doesn't bother me. If the NPFL doesn't want to have them, that's great. That gives somebody the option that doesn't want to fish tournaments with forward-facing sonar, then there you go. There's it's like
there's a choice. Yeah. You got a choice.
So everybody's got a choice, MLF is kind of done down the middle, you got 1 period and 2 periods you got to fish traditionally. Okay, that's working for them. Their viewership's through the roof, I can tell you that.
Oh yeah.
The elite, whatever they do, I hope they all do something a little bit different so everybody's got choices and we stop all this negative junk on it's
time to go fishing again.
But I get sucked into it. But I'm tired of reading about it. I just want to go fishing.
There you go.
I don't care what you have. I don't care what you have for electronics. The bottom line is practice and learn
up here.
Yeah. And you go to some of these tournaments. When I used to fish Opens and all that as a co-angler, I would watch guys before we'd leave the docks. They'd be in their truck reading notebooks.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the book I had last year. Oh, let me see and they would read notebooks that they kept records of everything.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the guys that were consistently in the top 10 every tournament. It's like anything else. Study the play. You got to look at the videotapes, study the plays.
Yeah, and I think you're certainly seeing the guys that are, I'm not saying they're not fishing hard, but these kids are out before the sun comes up, and when it gets dark, their trucks are still in the parking lot. Because I fished some of the same tournaments they are. The Toyota Series, it's almost not like the Toyota Series anymore because half the field are touring pros.
Oh, yeah.
Like, some of those young kids are on the water at dark still, where, some of the older guys pulled their boat out at 4:00, started to grill, and they're having a beer. So these kids, that's not the lifestyle they live. They live fishing 24/7. They got their jump in high school, which you and I didn't have. We didn't have a high school bass you know, and we didn't have the ability to go to college on a scholarship. Like these kids have been afforded a platform that we never had. And I think a lot of times these guys are jealous about it. You know,
oh yeah, absolutely.
You always want to see daddy's money, mommy's buying your waypoints. And no. They're winning tournaments at 14, 15, 16-year-old. Easton, for a great example, he won the college tournament, which then gives him a truck and a boat. And now he's off to the races, and now he's got $500,000 in the bank from winning 3 tournaments.
Absolutely. Hats off to
They're working. It's not turn the forward-facing sonar on and they jump in the boat. If that was the case, you wouldn't have seen guys at the Classic weighing in 2 and 3 fish if it was that easy.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Look at Jordan Lee. Yep, another youngster right out of college, winning in college, comes out of college, and within 2 years, he's up there fishing in the elites, with the big guys.
Yeah,
it's there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they made most of the opportunity. Hats off to them.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I like what Ed says. He says, "Don't look at what they sell for on eBay before you throw it." Talking about the man's best one. Yeah, they are getting up there.
Yeah.
And Eddie says, "I'm 52. I will have 4 FFS transducers on my boat next week." That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
And then our good buddy John Adams says, "Good evening, guys." Hey, John. How's it going, buddy? And he makes a good point. He says, "The people complaining about FFS should try it. It's not as easy as dropping the trolling motor, turn on your units, and fish start jumping in the boat."
Oh, of course it is. Just listen to them, John.
Yeah, I know.
It's just they magically 20-pound sacks every day. And it's just tournament fishing becomes really easy.
Oh, yeah. And then Eddie says, "I have something special." And then he says, "Scott, we will see what I do this year. Daylight to dark every day. No exceptions." Hey, no doubt, man.
With you, Eddie. I promise.
Y'all a couple grinders, man. I guarantee you. But anyway, Scott, let's go over some of your sponsors, man. We'll have you a few minutes. Do you want to go over your sponsors or people you want to thank here real quick?
Obviously, I get some help from some companies that support me along the way. Hamilton Bait and Tackle does a lot for me. I know you've been up there in our open house. Daiwa, P-Line, Line Cutters. Amphibious sunglasses, Mercury power poles. So, just a few. I appreciate each and every one of them. If I forgot one of them or didn't name them, on this, Hayabusa, obviously. But I appreciate each and every one of them, and I don't take it for granted. They could certainly tell me they don't want me to represent their company, or they could have somebody else doing it. But I've been with all of them for more than a year. And so they keep asking me or having me back. So I try to represent them all as professionally and as I can, and I appreciate them.
Absolutely, man. You're doing an awesome job. And, hey, congrats on your upcoming retirement, man. I know you're looking forward to it. And, hey, thank you for all your hard work you've done. I mean, you've spent a lot of years helping the public and protecting them, so hats off to you, man.
I appreciate it, Rob. And, Al, it was good meeting you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah.
And look forward to the next
one. Good luck on your retirement. I've been retired going on a couple of years now. And I got so bored I went back to work.
Yeah,
I got so bored I went back to work part-time.
Yeah, I think my wife's a little more nervous than I am because I'm going to be in her way all the time. But yeah.
I heard that, man. But, hey, we'll be looking for you on Toyota, and says everybody tune in, watch your way in. I know you're going to bring some big girls in, so we'll be checking you out, watching you, man.
All right, man. I appreciate it, guys.
9/11, you're going to be what, out of Smallwood State Park?
Yes, sir.
I'm on the other side of the river, a few miles down from it. So I'll be up there for it. I'll see you.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Hey, good luck. Good luck to you and Eddie. I know y'all gonna do good. And hey, man, appreciate you coming on, and keep on keeping on, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right, man. Thank you, man.
All right.
See you, man.
See you.
All right. See you. All right. Boy, a lot of juice there, Alvin. I tell you what.
Yeah. It's like I said, I've always been one of those crankbait guys that just throw, reel it in. Now I guess next time I get a chance to go out and I get in a rocky situation or anything like that, I'll just start bouncing it off the rocks.
Oh yeah, like I said, just pausing it. Yeah, just pause it. I mean, just like I said, Kevin Van Dam one time when he saw my crankbaits, he said, like he said, pause it, make it do something different. Especially hunt
Yeah.
around. I mean, yeah.
I've always, I've always been like a 4 or 5 fishing rod guy.
Yep.
I got a 7 something right now, lose with a heavy duty lose spool and 50-pound braid. And I think I throw everything I own off of that. It's
Yep.
just a rod I'm comfortable with.
Oh
It's
yeah.
either that or an open face.
Oh yeah. Andy
You
Morgan
know,
used to do that. Andy Morgan had one rod, and he'd throw a buzz bait, and he'd throw a jig on the same rod. He'd just.
it sits in my truck right now.
Yep.
And right now it's got one of these spinner baits on it. I was checking it. I had to go to North Carolina this past weekend, so I hit up a couple of ramps along the way and tried them
Hey, I don't
out.
blame you. There you go. Can't blame you
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yep.
I got plans. Well, I got to go in early to work tomorrow, but they're gonna let us out early on Friday, so I'm loading up the kayak and I'm hitting the lake Friday before the storm hits Saturday. So hopefully.
I was supposed to have a storm this week. Well, you guys are out west. I'm on the east, so
Yeah.
we'll probably get it Sunday. Yeah, I worked just I'm back to one hotel.
Oh, good.
I stopped and bounced in between two. I just go to the other one when needed, but I'm still on 24-hour week. I still only
Oh
work
yeah.
half a week,
That's
but
good.
I like it. It's okay. I tried, you're talking about kayaks. I tried getting in one. I could not enjoy it. I just didn't feel safe. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is, but yet put me in one of those 10-foot pond prowlers
Yep.
at Bass Pro Shops, and I'm happy.
Oh yeah, those are pretty good. I've had one of those, but I guess growing up, I always had like a P row or a canoe, so maybe that's part of it. But I rented one and I said I'm gonna try this for half a day, and I loved it. And so
Yeah, well, that's what I
great.
did. And
Yep.
I never got more than 20, 30 feet off the shore.
Yep.
I was like, I could have got on the dock and fished further and fished more.
I hey,
So,
everybody's different, and hey, at least we got a choice. We can go, So
but I love watching. I've still, and I say it every time, I think kayak fishing is the future of this sport.
oh, absolutely.
I would love to see a series where you're going to get 75 to 100 kayakers at $200-300 entry fees,
Yep.
paying 10, 12,000 to win. I think it's there. I don't think we're that far away from that year. Maybe 2, 3 years down the road, we're going to see it. We're
Oh
going
yeah.
to see kayak becoming a more popular in the sense that the money's going to be there, that guys are going to say, hey, just like Scott's retiring, you're retired. When you retire, for somebody in their 50s, this might, hey, I can go fish and make a living almost.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they had that
I think it's
Hobie. The
there.
Hobie series was close to that. Hobie series is really close
Yeah.
to that mark.
And I think we need more of it. I think
Yep.
it's with the cost of fishing today. I mean, just like we're saying, just the cost to buy tackle is getting up there,
Yeah.
let alone the cost of boats, the
Yep. And
maintenance.
maintenance. Yeah,
And
the maintenance. Yeah.
and like we're talking, forward facing sonar, power poles. The day of buying a $30,000 bass boat and with a 7-inch hummingbird or something on it, that's over.
Oh yeah.
The electronics alone are $30,000.
Oh yeah.
And the boats
Absolutely.
are close to 70.
Yep.
It's that meme we keep seeing. 80,000 for the boat, 60,000 for the truck, $500 first place. You
Yeah.
know,
If you're lucky.
yeah. But I think that's where kayaks are getting better.
Oh yeah.
The
They are.
batteries are getting stronger. The motors are getting more powerful. You know, they're getting a little wider, a little
Yep.
longer, so they're getting more stable. So I really do think kayak fishing is definitely like a young man's sport, but I think it's the age is getting closer to us
Oh yeah,
as the
absolutely.
boats get a little more stable and they get. I mean, for under about 6 grand, you got a brand new kayak fully rigged, ready to go.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all tricked out easily.
Yeah, and I look forward to the day where that's where somebody can go spend that kind of money and say, "Hey, I paid $250 entry fee. I came in 10th, and I walked away with 2 grand."
Oh yeah.
You
Well, I like
know?
about it, like I throw it back in my truck and I can go down by the lake and just have like a little pull off and I can roll my kayak right in the water right there.
Yeah,
Can't beat it.
yeah, and it does open up and the CPR style catch, photo,
Yep.
release. Yeah, all right. We all have to be on Jordan Lake, but we can put it in anywhere we want.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah. And then around here, I got a bunch of lakes that's like idle only, so boats can only idle. It's perfect for a kayak. So I mean, that's perfect.
Like I said, I have the Potomac River, the James River, Chickahominy River, the Rappahannock, Lake Anna, um, Lake was it Chickahominy Lake, I believe,
Yep.
and then right down the road from me, I have what used to be Fort AP Hill.
Yep.
Now it's Walker, and that's electric only.
Hmm.
And there's about 5 or 6 decent fishing lakes on that base. I fished all of them. They're really nice,
Oh yeah.
but they are a kayaker's dream. They're built just right for kayak fishing.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
know, but yeah, I would like to see kayak fishing. That's why I said I spend more time with that because I think it's the up and coming sport.
Oh yeah, and it's weird. It's like a different vibe. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but the tournaments, it's just a lot more laid back. I mean, just and the guys will be in kayaks and they'll come talk to each other. Say, "Hey, did you catch anything?" "No, I tried over here." And it's just,
Oh yeah,
it's just a different vibe. I can't put my finger on it.
and we've had content creators on the network. They're out fishing. 5 minutes later, you look and there's a guy pulling up alongside of them. The two of them are fishing side by side, having a good
Oh yeah,
time.
yeah, and
It's
like
just,
yeah,
but
it.
yeah, it's there.
Oh yeah, it is. It's. But I think we had a guest one time. I think Roy Widgeon of Kayak Magazine, and said
Oh yeah,
he
Roy.
told me, yeah, he told me he says it's like riding a motorcycle on water, and he's pretty close because I've used to ride motorcycles. It feels like because you're out there by yourself, you're just cruising like you
Yeah,
want to. So that's pretty good
yeah.
analogy.
I did last year. We did a Heroes on the Water event down in Virginia, heading towards Virginia Beach, and Roy was there. And
Yeah,
I got to interview Roy, and we did a nice
great
video of
guy.
his kayak. Really nice setup. And he's got USA Kayak Fishing
Yep,
magazine. So, and if you want to know anything about kayak fishing, that's the magazine to read. It's an
absolutely. You got some
online
great guests.
magazine. Yeah. And he's a great guy. He puts
He is.
together he does podcasts. So check them out. And they get a lot of good guys on there that talk about it. But I like it. It's fun. I'm a director of a CPR series, and most of my guys are in kayaks.
That's the way to go, man. That's CPR. I think it's the way of the future.
And I think the software is getting better.
Oh yeah.
Catch makes a beautiful measuring board. You know, really cuts it down on the cheating
Oh yeah.
drastically. But all right, we get get to going there.
Yeah. Good show, man. I appreciate you coming on, filling in, man. Always pleasure to have you on, man.
And I appreciate coming on. I appreciate John. John asked me earlier if I could do this, and get well, John. And I'm always here when you guys need me.
Oh man, we
You
appreciate you, Al,
know.
everything you do, man.
All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And said tune in to the American Outdoor Network with Al. Great platform. A lot of different shows. So check him out. So with that, hey, good night, Al. I'll talk to you later, I'm sure. You have a good night, my friend.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right. See you guys. Peace out. All right.